Hey guys, I just wanted to start this video off by just saying this is just going to be kind of a video going over my thoughts on 2021 and, hip hop in 2021, some of my favorite songs or artists, things like that. So, first things first, just 2021 was a crazy year. I think we learned a lot about the hip hop landscape this year. For starters, I feel like we're really starting to milk dead rappers into the ground. I'm all for fans getting new music, especially if the artist intended it. However, I don't think everyone's team is going about it the right way. This year's Faith by Pop Smoke and Juice WRLD's Fighting Demons, in my opinion, were pretty terrible. The Pop album especially. Half the songs sounded like vocal takes from album sessions that they passed on when he was alive, but wanted to cash in on now that he's dead. Juice WRLD's album, Fighting Demons, is a bit different. It's not necessarily incomplete songs. They are just overproduced and seem a bit too commercial. The Justin Bieber featured Wander to LA, it was a fine track, but almost sounded like Juice almost sounded like AI with all the different vocal effects added compared to the leak version. But I don't think that we're just milking dead rappers now. I think we're also kind of milking living ones too. Can someone please tell Kid Leroy's team that we don't need 3 deluxe versions of his 2020 album, Fuck Love? It is okay, Kid Leroy, it's okay to release multiple projects. You want to release them within a year, so be it. I don't care. You can release 6 projects, but just keep continuously tacking on more and more songs to the same album just seems like a desperate way to make up album sales. And in 2017, 2018, I thought merch bundles were bad, but this is just awful. And the other thing too is that we need to just leave some tracks on the cutting room floor. There's no reason why Polo G's album needs to have 34 songs. I like Polo G. I thought Hall of Fame was a solid project. His flow may have gone a little stale by the end of it, and I got bored with all the guitar beats, but his flip of Changes by Tupac on Wishing for a Hero made me excited to hear what he'd release next. But you know what he releases next? Hall of Fame 2.0 with the exact same flow. The project is now an hour and a half, and like I said, 34 songs. And most of them just very, very similar beats. And I'd love to hear him have some sort of progression. Now, the one song I did like was the Smooth Criminal sampled Bad Man. I thought that was a pretty dope song, but you know what? We could have just left that for the next album, save that for the next rollout. And I'm going to say this now because, when I do release the top 10 video, there's going to be an album on there that, a little long, may have gotten a deluxe, may have been one of my favorite albums of the year, but I'll explain why I'm okay with it in some capacity when we get there. But for a lot of these trap rappers, I'm just over it. I'm just tired of it. But there's a lot to love for me this year as well. I found Harry Fraud and Hit Boy were my favorite producers of the year. Hoffa by Dave East, which was produced by Harry Fraud, made me actually finally understand Dave East. He was someone who I've always kind of enjoyed their verses on songs, but a full body of work never clicked for me. But the way that Fraud kind of put the different samples together and thematically, just the cohesiveness of the album was super dope. I was a fan, and if you haven't heard that album, I'd recommend it. Give it a chance. He also did Plugs I Met Too with Benny the Butcher, which I thought was also really great. Although it wasn't as good as the first one, and kind of didn't, it wasn't even as good as Burden of Proof, which was produced by Hit Boy, but still a solid album. But speaking of Hit Boy, this year I feel like he brought Nas back. I spoke about it last year with King's Disease 1, But King's Disease 2 and Magic, in my opinion, are even better than King's Disease 1. The EP he also did for Big Sean was really fun, and I'd love to see them do some more work together, just because I think that his style is pretty good. It complements Sean's voice and his flow really well. I'm excited for King's Disease 3 in 2022, but you know, he could be working on some other stuff, and I'd like to see him work on some more projects with some different rappers. There's rumors of him doing an album with The Game, which I'm pretty excited for. And although it didn't make my top 10, I was also very happy to have a new Lloyd Banks album with Griselda features and great production. You know, that was something that I've been really high on Lloyd Banks for years. I've always thought that he's a super underrated guy, and he just hadn't found his niche in hip hop in a long time. And I'm happy that he's kind of linking up with some of this, you know, Rock Marciano and all these New York guys. I think that their lyricism and their style of beats work well with his flow and his lyrics. My favorite song of the year was Off the Grid by Kanye, Playboi Carti, and Fivio Foreign. Fivio, another New York guy, but not in the same lane as like the Lloyd Banks, but definitely, you know, a New York drill guy. Carti, his part in the song, not the greatest, but you know, some of it was kind of funny, I guess. But what really surprised me was Fivio. Fivio's verse, in my opinion, was the verse of the year. I'd love to have an argument with someone as to who had a better verse, but to me, he just absolutely murdered it every single time. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I can be sitting on the couch, you know, I can be driving to work, I can be going to the gym, whatever. It always pumps me up, always gets me excited. And Kanye's verse, I remember when at the second listening party, you know, it was just kind of Kanye's chorus, Playboi Carti, and Fivio, and I was excited for the song. I really enjoyed it, but Kanye's verse, when it came on during the third listening party, I was like blown away. I was like, I haven't heard Kanye rap like this in a very long time. The messy line, everything like that, just a lot of quotables, a lot of good moments on there. I'm excited to see, you know, what if Kanye can rap like that again. I would love to hear him on, you know, more modern beats like that. But overall, I felt like this year was a bit lackluster compared to 2020. I think with a lot of restrictions still in place, lots of people decided not to drop. When J. Cole's off-season dropped, and then shortly after, I think it was a couple of weeks after, Tyler dropped Call Me If You Get Lost, it felt like the floodgates were opening for people to finally release music again. But I think lots of people held off because of issues with worldwide tours. Hopefully things kind of settle down in 2022. I'd love to go to concerts again. This is the longest it's been for me since I started going to concerts when I was like 14, 15. It's been since October of 2019. I saw Pup in Kingston, and I haven't been to a show since then, and I'm excited. I have tickets to see My Chemical Romance in September, so I'd love to be able to go and see them. You know, bucket list band for me. And I just hope it doesn't get canceled, or, you know, any further restrictions are put in place. But I mean, at least I'm healthy. That's all I can really ask for. So overall, I think 2021 was kind of a sleeper year for music, and I'm hoping in 2022, the biggest ask I have for it is we just get a Kendrick Lamar album. You know, if nobody else drops, I just want the Kendrick album. I think that it's been since 2017 since Damn came out, and I mean 5 years without an album. I respect it, but I'm extremely excited to see what he can come out with. What are you guys excited for? You know, was 2021 a good year for you musically? Let me know in the comments. Thanks a lot.